Vice President Kamala Harris's statement, "No one should go to jail for smoking weed," is a bold stance that reflects growing sentiment in the United States for cannabis reform. As public opinion shifts toward the decriminalization and legalization of marijuana, Harris's position reinforces a national conversation on criminal justice, racial equity, and drug policy. Her statement is rooted in a broader understanding of the need for reform, particularly in how marijuana laws disproportionately affect marginalized communities. The vice president's remarks align with ongoing efforts to reform drug laws, which have historically been punitive and often unjust. For decades, people have faced severe penalties for minor marijuana offenses, leading to overcrowded prisons and significant personal and social consequences. Harris's stance challenges the traditional war on drugs approach, which has been criticized for disproportionately targeting low-income individuals and communities of color, particularly Black and Latino populations. The criminalization of marijuana has led to widespread racial disparities in arrests and incarcerations. Studies consistently show that Black and Latino individuals are arrested for marijuana possession at much higher rates than their white counterparts, despite similar usage rates. Harris's call for change highlights the importance of addressing these racial inequities. Reforming marijuana laws would be a step toward correcting the systemic racial bias ingrained in the criminal justice system. Furthermore, Harris's position reflects the growing understanding that criminalizing marijuana use is not an effective solution to the issues related to drug use and addiction. Research has shown that punitive approaches do not decrease marijuana consumption and may actually exacerbate social and economic inequalities. Many advocates argue that decriminalization, paired with education and public health initiatives, is a more effective way to address marijuana use while minimizing harm. In addition to its social justice implications, the issue of marijuana decriminalization also has significant economic ramifications. The legal marijuana industry is rapidly growing, generating billions in tax revenue and creating jobs in states where it is legal. Decriminalizing marijuana at the federal level could open the door for further economic growth while reducing the burden on the criminal justice system. This would allow law enforcement to focus resources on more serious crimes, rather than low-level drug offenses. Harris's statement also underscores the ongoing push for cannabis reform at the federal level. Although many states have legalized marijuana for medical or recreational use, it remains illegal under federal law. This creates a complex legal landscape where individuals may still face federal charges for marijuana possession, even in states where it is legal. Advocates for reform argue that federal decriminalization would resolve these conflicts and create a more consistent regulatory framework. Public opinion on marijuana has shifted dramatically over the past few decades, with the majority of Americans now supporting legalization. This change in attitude reflects a broader acceptance of marijuana use, both for medical purposes and recreational enjoyment. Harris's comments are in line with this shift, and they suggest that the federal government may eventually need to align with public opinion on the issue. The vice president's stance also highlights the importance of addressing the long-term consequences of marijuana criminalization. Many individuals who are incarcerated or face legal penalties for marijuana possession still carry the burdens of criminal records, which can limit their job prospects, housing opportunities, and overall quality of life. Harris's statement suggests that reform should not only focus on current policy, but also on rectifying past injustices, including expunging records for those convicted of minor marijuana offenses. Harris's position is part of a larger conversation about drug policy in America. As attitudes toward marijuana shift, there is increasing recognition that the criminal justice system must be reformed to reflect these changes. However, this requires careful planning and a focus on equity to ensure that reforms benefit those who have been most harmed by previous policies. Ensuring that minority communities, who have been disproportionately affected by marijuana laws, benefit from legal cannabis markets is a critical aspect of this effort. In conclusion, Vice President Kamala Harris's statement that no one should go to jail for smoking weed is a reflection of a growing movement toward cannabis reform. It calls for a reevaluation of punitive drug laws that have disproportionately impacted marginalized communities and highlights the need for federal decriminalization. Her comments resonate with broader efforts to create a more just, equitable, and effective approach to marijuana regulation, one that acknowledges the failures of past policies and seeks to promote fairness and opportunity in the future.